There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
Form ikijipa, mimi nani. Now it's time to get extreme ice fresh. Ukiwa fresh all day, una stay fresh all night. Niki step onto the scene, na nikiona Benki, shajua rada. Hona bro. Be a boss man. Be your own man. Ukiwa your own man, unakaa fiti na una smell even better. Be your own man with new Bossman Extreme Ice.
Tere, mambo ni mawili, kufikisha, kumwaga na kurudi. Kulala ni mwaka mpya.
Muka we mse. Nini mbaya? Wewe kwani wani vile dereva anaendesha gari vibaya, lazima tususe. Anaendesha gari na kwa simu the whole time hata angalia barabara. Mseni dereva tusimame. Wewe dereva wewe. Mwaka iliyopita peke yake watu zaidi ya 1000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona.
Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri.
Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa tuende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
This is NTV.
tonight we are resolute on this. Leaders should be people who conduct themselves with utmost respect, and even if they fall short of self-respect, they must speak and act in undeniable respect to those they lead. While it may be a reflection of the lack of a better option or the fruit of political tactics of some sort, the high privilege of getting elected is ideally an indication of the people's confidence in one's ability to fairly manage their affairs. Elected leaders and those appointed to serve the public must, therefore, always strive to be above and beyond reproach, not above and beyond the law. There are two recent highly disturbing incidents in which people expected to conduct themselves with decorum have fallen short of that, and unsettling so. Both reflect the growing, disgusting behavior that some politicians have served the public with. Mumia's East Member of Parliament, Peter Salasia, assaulted a member of County Assembly in public, and worse, at a funeral. He, in the footsteps of other shameless leaders, turned an event where grieving families were observing their final respects into a platform for political and ego-inspired shame. Maybe, just maybe, in some twisted, misguided world, he may have considered his actions some sort of wisdom, but a right-thinking, mature person would deem this foolishness. What else would it be when one tears through the somber, heavy mood of grief with unnecessary shenanigans? That is extremely callous and disrespectful to the bereaved family. Even more concerning is that this is not the first time Salasia is causing fracas at a funeral. There was another incident in May involving this first-time lawyer. While he may be busy making another video to showcase his interests and consider this mileage for him, this memo is clear. Mr. Salasia, stop dancing on people's graves and seeking to draw political points out of them. Have a heart, style up. Some may say grow up. Another horrible example is the fracas at a public function, where Kisii Governor Simba Arati and South Mugirango MP Silvanus Osoro clashed and several people suffered gunshot wounds. Well, sadly, these two politicians have had a long-running history of ugly confrontations, but they are still enjoying the freedoms to walk and do more injury to the public atmosphere, and in some instances, desecrate the sanctity of the offices they hold. Elected representatives of the people must carry themselves with decorum. Chapter 6 of the Constitution underlines the sanctity of leadership and integrity. Responsible leadership entails respect for the people, honor to the country, integrity, dignity, impartiality in the execution of public duties, accountability to the public, discipline and commitment to serving the people. Leaders must do what is morally and ethically right and avoid questionable practices and base violent conduct. Sheer arrogance, loose talk, insults, embezzlement, nepotism, and discrimination are not the qualities of a good leader. Unfortunately, many politicians will campaign with humility during elections, but on winning those positions, turn their backs on the voters, even when the electorate may not see it. A good leader must have integrity, courage, respect, compassion, and resilience, and should be a role model for the youth. In the instances this memo has indicated, the youth are not getting role models, just glorified raw deals. Let's not lose our young people to the indiscretions that are put out in the public. That is the memo.
tonight.
These threats and declarations are extremely serious and can lead to chaos and anarchy in our motherland.
Standing up to the executive's affront on the judiciary. We look into Martha Kome's message to President William Ruto, his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, and the question she did not respond to. Plus, of murders and other illegalities in short-stay houses. Many crimes later, the government acts. We tell you what is now needed to rent a house for a short stay, including on platforms such as Airbnb. Also tonight, Rigathi Gachagua versus Ndindi Nyoro.
Those say times and seasons are given by God. Who knows who will be there in 2027? It's good to say Mapoma and your best, but we never know.
Is it about counties or about the quality of leaders? If you say that from Muranga, what about leaders from other counties?
A battle unleashed too early, or a mountain of a duel to watch out for. And new beginnings. Form 1s get to their new schools. The economic burdens are keeping some off classrooms and in the marketplace.
Nimtafutie hata vile mimi nachukua ndoo ya mahindi na yeye nimtafutie hata kama ni watermelon ama ni njugu aweze kuuza at least.
Nilikuwa namsaidia kuuza.
Live from Nation Centre, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti Viriati.
Thanks very much for joining us. David Agondoa is our sign language interpreter. Now, the Private Security Regulatory Authority has issued new requirements to be complied with before gaining access into short rental premises, including apartments and lodgings. Anyone seeking accommodation will have to provide identification documents and register the entry and exit time. CCTV cameras are required to be operational and a security occurrence book updated daily. NTV's Brian Mushiri has more.
Following the recent spate of criminal activity, including cases of murder in residential apartments, particularly those affiliated with online accommodation, lodging and hospitality platforms, the Private Security Regulatory Authority under the Ministry of Interior and National Administration has issued a directive aimed at addressing issues of insecurity. First, anyone seeking accommodation in rental premises will have to provide an identification document to a security service provider who will record the time of entry and exit. All vehicles, rickshaws and motorcycles entering or departing from the facility have to be registered. A register of security officers manning premises during the day and night shift should be kept. According to the requirements, CCTV and security cameras should be in proper working condition and the recording of footage is up to date. Owners of premises are required to update any access control policy, a copy of which should be displayed at the point of entry, and maintain a security occurrence book to record daily incidents. Only yesterday, a woman was murdered in an apartment in Roysambu. Her body, which was dismembered, was discovered in the apartment with the head missing. It was discovered that the building did not have CCTV cameras. Operators of some online accommodation businesses have welcomed the announcement asking the government to crack on the whip on violators and close down their premises.
So we are calling on the police to also support us, where we have these outliers who are operating outside the law, to support us to make sure that everybody who is running these businesses has been registered with the relevant authorities and is duly recognized.
Brian Mushiri, NTV, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, health workers at the Nakuru Level 5 hospital have threatened to down their tools in the next 24 hours if suspects behind the murder of Laban Kipto are not arrested. The health workers took to the streets seeking justice over the murder. The body of Kipto, a medical intern at the facility, was found dumped in a trench on Saturday morning. 10 people have recorded statements with the police. NTV's Ruth Sarmoe reports.
Activities at the Nakuru Level 5 hospital came to a standstill as nursing and medical interns took to the streets to protest the killing of 26-year-old Laban Kipto Langat.
Kitu ya kwanza tunataka justice for Dr. Laban Langat.
The medicine and surgery student from Egerton University was last seen in one of the entertainment joints in London, Nakuru town, on Saturday night by his friends, only for his body to be found dumped in a trench outside the Margaret Kenyatta mother-baby maternity wing at 7 a.m. Saturday morning.
In the bar, he came alone. He was alone at around 11. He stayed there for about an hour with his friends. He looked a bit high, but he just walked out himself.
The health workers, accompanied by leaders from the Kenya Medical, Dentist and Pharmacist Union, demanded to have all the CCTV cameras at the facility functional. They also called for proper lighting at the facility.
Tunataka CCTV cameras zikuwe, na kama ziko zikuwe zinafanya kazi. Sio watuambie ni CCTV cameras ziko na hazina memory. Hiyo hatuelewi. Sawa sawa. Alafu kuna security wenye wanakopa security firm, private firm. Wewe waondoke, hatutaki hao watu.
Hii hospitali ni kubwa sana kukosa security. Ukimagine daktari amebebwa kama ameuawa anakuja kudambiwa hapa, and we claim that we have security. Hiyo ni message ya kutuonyesha kweli wanachua we are just, they can do anything.
They say this is not the first time a practitioner was being attacked at the facility.
There's one of us who was attacked na tulienda hivi na ikanyamaziwa.
The medics also called on the hospital management to provide call rooms for every department to enable workers respond to hospital calls with ease. The protest saw the workers march to the hospital's administration offices demanding answers from the management before later marching to the Nakuru governor's office.
In 24 hours, if the perpetrators of this act will not have been brought to book, all the doctors in Nakuru County will stand in solidarity and will not offer their services.
At least 10 people, among them colleagues he was last seen with at the entertainment joint, the owner of the club, hospital security guards on duty on the day he died, as well as his other friends, have been interrogated by police. Postmortem examination results showed that Kipto died of strangulation.
We will not say it's not murder because the postmortem shows that he was strangled. Therefore, we are working on it to see who could have been involved.
He was set to complete his internship in June this year. His body has been moved to Kitale in Trans Nzoia County ahead of his burial. Ruth Sarmoe, NTV, Nakuru.
A story that we will be following up on. Now, heads of schools have called on the government to increase the amount capitation to schools so as to help construct the necessary facilities to accommodate the high number of students who have joined Form 1. The schools have, however, resorted to momentarily adapt to the situation. State House Girls, which has received more than 450 students, has opened more avenues for those who wish to be day scholars. Kenya High School, on the other hand, has opted to squeeze in more than 621 students with the hope that the government will provide necessary funds to build more facilities to accommodate them. Meanwhile, parents who faced unending queues while admitting their sons to Kapsabet High School in Nandi have called on the Ministry of Education to stagger the days for admission to 3 so as to help ease the congestion. This is the last cohort of Form 1s to join high school since the 844 system was phased out in the primary level.
You will have 1 or 2 or 3 who will maybe prefer to go today and they have been admitted to boarding. And because of the strain in the hostel, probably we may give away to allow them to be day scholars.
Numbers are so huge, and if next time the ministry and the school could consider doing it in 2 or 3 days, maybe on their own calling letters, then it will be great.
As far as capacity is concerned, we will be just a little bit squeezed. So, and because these are the Kenyan children, we have to accommodate them, because if we don't, where will they go? And they have performed well.
All right, still on education, Raiza Kayuma, who is expected to join Buruburu Girls High School, may now miss out on the chance due to lack of fees and other essentials. The ambitious young girl, who has dreams of being a judge, hails from Lunga Lunga and has had to resort to selling watermelons alongside her mother, who is a boiled maize hawker, so as to accumulate the much-needed cash for her fees. NTV's Sydney Chazima caught up with her and brings us this story.
At around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we meet Raiza Kayuma in the company of her mother as they stride home after attempting to secure admission at Buruburu Girls Secondary School. The mother, Agnes Anaro, informs us that they have been urged to report back on Wednesday for a meeting with the school's principal, the main reason being
nimekuwa kwa hard time, nikawa ninatafuta school fees ya mtoto. Hata ingawa mtoto ameitwa Buruburu, lakini sina uwezo wa kumfikisha hapo.
Agnes Anaro and her daughter Raiza reside in Lunga Lunga, Nairobi. The mother tells us she hawks boiled maize to make ends meet. Her husband lost his job and neglected his parental obligations. Anaro says she has lost hope of having her daughter admitted to a boarding school and opted to have her help in hawking watermelons or groundnuts so as to help raise fees to join a local day school.
Vile mimi nachukua ndoo ya mahindi na yeye nimtafutia hata kama ni watermelon ama ni njugu aweze kuuza, at least kifika hata mwezi kiisha, kama nitakuwa nimechanga kitu chenye kinaweza kumweka kwa shule ya day ya kijiji itakuwa ni sawa.
Mama vile aliniambia ana school fees, akaniambia nianze kumsaidia kuuza. So nilikuwa namsaidia kuuza. Haiwezi tosha, juadi haiwezi fika hadi dhao.
Vile umeuza kwa siku mingi, umeuza ngapi kwa siku ndo?
Kitu kama 300.
Raiza Kayuma painted the picture of her struggles while still in primary school.
Masaa zingine kama mamangu ana kitabu, nakosa kitabu, alafu kuna masaa ikifika hiyo subject na naomba nafasi naenda choo, alafu hiyo nakacho mpaka vile subject inaisha.
And despite attaining 299 marks in her KCSE exams, Raiza harbors dreams of one day being at the center of decision-making in a court of law.
Nilikuwa nataka kuwa judge.
Raiza and her mother will on Wednesday make their way back to Buruburu Girls in a second attempt, laden with hope that the school's principal will provide the way forward with regards to her admission to Form 1. Sydney Chazima, NTV.
Certainly wishing her all the very best and hope that someone comes to her aid so she can follow her dreams and become a judge. All right, at this point, we've got to take a quick break on the broadcast. To stay with us, there is more on the other side.
Form ikijipa, mimi nani. Now it's time to get extreme ice fresh. Ukiwa fresh all day, una stay fresh all night. Niki step onto the scene, na nikiona Benki, shajua rada. Ona bro, be a boss man, be your own man. Jukiwa your own man, unakaa fiti na una smell even better. Be your own man with new Vassman Extreme Ice.
With a promo code and get a welcome bonus. 1xBet.
Alex yuko wapi?
Bado hajafika kutoka kazini.
Na badala umtafute, umekuja kutunyamazisha, sio?
Mama,
mimi sio mama yako.
Kuna shida? Alex amevamiwa, sasa ako kwa shida.
Welcome back. Orange Democratic Movement Party leader Raila Odinga's rally was today temporarily disrupted in Busia town following violent confrontations between rival youth groups. The chaos erupted after a section of youth tried to stop Busia Governor Paul Otuoma from addressing the crowd. Gabriel Kudaka now tells us that Raila, who later addressed the rally, blamed the Kenya Kwanza administration of failing to address crucial issues affecting Kenyans.
It was meant to be the start of a 3-day tour of Raila Odinga's mass recruitment drive in one of his perceived home turfs as he sought to consolidate his backyard. However, the party would soon be cut short as a section of youth shouted down Governor Otuoma, accusing him of being a Kenya Kwanza government sympathizer. Efforts by ODM leader Raila Odinga to calm the rowdy youth were futile. Police were forced to lob tear gas canisters to disperse and control the crowd. And when calm was finally restored, ODM leaders addressed the crowd, accusing some of their members of being traitors, even as they rallied the youth to support the party.
Vijana ndio kiherehere ya chama. Vijana wakiingia ndani ya chama wataleta nguvu mingi zaidi. Tunasema wazee uko chini watoke waende juu. Wache vijana hapa chini waingie hapa chini. Unakumbuka juzi nilikuja hapa. Karibu watu wengine waniue hapa. Hamtaki tukae nao? Hamtaki? Sawa sawa. Kama hamtaki tutasema wae.
Nyinyi ni watu wazuri sana. Kwa sababu mnataka chama ikuwe imara.
Busia nyinyi ni ODM damu. Bila nilikuwa nakuja nikaambia UDA imeanza kuingia Busia. Leo nimeona hakuna UDA. Busia, we are making a declaration that one William Ruto is no longer a hustler.
Raila accused the Kenya Kwanza government of failing to tame the runaway cost of living.
Atafute baba na wale wataalamu ambao tulikuwa nao katika serikali ya Kibaki. Ni tuendeshe uchumi. Najua namna ya kuendesha gari hii ya Kenya.
Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
All right, from that to one of our top stories, and the President of the Republic of Kenya is risking sinking the country into anarchy and a constitutional crisis by way of his public declarations and threats to disobey court orders. This is the reiteration of the Chief Justice and the Judicial Service Commission as the JSC further amplifies its voice in calling on President William Ruto and his deputy to cease their attacks on the judiciary. The Commission says it is ready to dialogue with the President, even as it has presented a report card on its performance in addressing complaints on judicial officers and processes in response to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. NTV's Olive Burrows brings us the latest in the back and forth and points out the crucial question that the Chief Justice did not respond to.
The Judicial Service Commission walked down a corridor and occupied the front steps of the CBK pension towers, taking steps they deem fit, necessary and noble in light of threats the president has issued, indicating the executive would not follow court orders which it deems procured. Across the way from where they took a stand stands the president's Harambee House office, the destination of this message.
The declaration that they will no longer obey court orders and the subsequent actual defiance of the orders granted by the courts are untenable and amount to contempt of court. And if this course is allowed to continue unabated, we are on the precipice of a constitutional crisis that can lead to untold civil strife.
This time, when Chief Justice and JSC Chair Martha Koome stood up to President William Ruto, she did so with Attorney General Justin Muturi at her back and with presidential appointees Isaac Ruto and Caroline Nzilani by her side, a Judicial Service Commission appearing to speak as one. It is not the first time the Chief Justice has addressed herself to the president's threat to treat court orders with contempt. But thus far, her pleas that cases should not be prosecuted in the court of public opinion have fallen on deaf ears.
I said when judges are attacked publicly and they are hearing a matter, live matters, they feel intimidated. They feel harassed. They feel like they are being ordered to rule in a certain way. Actually, they get embarrassed.
Barely 24 hours prior to the statement, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua raised the stakes by responding to the Chief Justice's consistent reminders that any and all aspersions on the integrity of judicial officers should be supported by evidence channeled to the Judicial Service Commission.
Amechallenge sisi tutoe ushahidi. I will lead by example. On Thursday, this coming week, at 2:15, I'll personally present a petition before Lady Chief Justice Martha Koome against Justice Esther Maina for her removal from the judiciary for misconduct and corruption.
We are ready to receive it, even if it comes earlier than Thursday, because that's what we do. Our offices are open to receive. Even after hours, you can file online.
She did, however, have this word of caution for the Deputy President.
Even murder cases, when people are accused of murder, we don't condemn them and sentence them and convict them. We hear them. So even judges are human beings who deserve to be given an opportunity to be heard. And judges get hurt, especially when their names are dragged in public and they are condemned as corrupt and there is no evidence that has been presented to them to respond.
And she took the time to respond to this challenge.
Chief Justice, ambia wa Kenya how many complaints have been filed against judicial officers, how many she has dealt with, and what is the timeline to conclude those petitions.
In the year 2023, the JSC says it received 72 complaints against judges. 13 were dismissed as matters touching on decisions which should be addressed by way of appeal or review. 49 are undergoing review. 6 judges were asked to respond. 4 were admitted for hearing, with 3 judges leaving the judiciary.
We have written requesting for an appointment with His Excellency the President so that we as the Commission can have a dialogue to discuss and find out what is the real issue. He might have received reports because we have the various machineries and agencies that are charged with the responsibility of collecting information. And we would like to engage him so that he can give us that information.
The final question that was asked of the Chief Justice this evening was what action, if any, will they take if their calls for dialogue go unheeded and the barrage from the executive continues? It is a question the Chief Justice left unanswered, and perhaps that is the answer. Olive Burrows, NTV.
Interesting times indeed. That is something we will keep a close eye on. Now, is it time that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua retreats and reflects on the undoing of the support he enjoyed in his Mount Kenya region backyard as more dissenting voices rise and even propose his replacement come 2027? While some political leaders from the region think so, in light of statements by leaders from Murang'a County who are fronting Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro to succeed the DP in 2027. Gachagua has, however, dismissed his critics, even as speculation is rife on disquiet within the UDA party. Our senior political reporter Melita Oletenges has more.
The Honorable Rigathi Gachagua to make
the announcement that revealed the outcome of the deal, silencing questions and speculations. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua had a large part of the Mount Kenya region welcoming his appointment.
And the choice that we have before us today is not purely the choice of His Excellency the Deputy President. It is the collective choice of the leadership and the population of the people of Mount Kenya region.
But like the people of the Mulembe Nation say, Vindu vichenjanga. Some leaders from Murang'a County are no longer on board flight Rigathi Gachagua for DP.
We do not want somebody who has been talking about the disrespect that the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta had. Well, he is actually worse. He thinks that some of us are trash. Rigathi Gachagua get an opportunity to serve one term as the Deputy President. Ndindi Nyoro get an opportunity to serve one term from 2027 as the Deputy President. 2032, they will decide what they want to do.
These sentiments have caused a storm in the mountain, with questions arising as to the reason behind the change of heart and the genesis of the idea to front Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro as the man to deputize William Ruto in the 2027 election.
I would want to point from the onset that this country is not made of 2 or 3 counties. It's not made of Kiambu, Nyeri and Murang'a. It has 47 counties, and each and every county has the right democratically to take any position of leadership when popularly elected into this country.
The interest is not who will be the leader 2027. Because again, I always say times and seasons are given by God. Who knows who will be there in 2027? It's good to say Mapoma and your best, but we never know.
It is the prerogative of any particular leader to aspire for any position. But I would want to advise my good friend, my younger brother, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, who is a very good leader, for a fact. He has really transformed his constituency. However, I believe there are some people who really want to mislead him or use him to bring division in the mountain.
With the Deputy President coming under fire for allegedly mistreating some leaders in the mountain, he has stated that he shall not pay attention to naysayers. His style of leadership, which in some instances comes across and has been described as abrasive and high-handed, is unsettling for some.
Though his background has been very administrative, and so might be Rigathi Gachagua by the fact that he came in from being in administration, came and assisted his brother, the former governor of Nyeri County, then became an MP one term, and then he was given the position of the Deputy President. Maybe there's some intrigues that he has not maybe mastered. I feel maybe we might rush to judge him, but he has time to learn, and it might be the best time now for His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua to ask himself what is happening within his troops, because it's too early. That's what I feel. It's just 1 year, and so already if people are feeling maybe he's not capable of 2027, then he needs to call his inner core.
At the moment, they should be looking for ways and means of easing the burden on Kenyans and making sure where we are getting, the extra money that we need to fix the fiscal deficit. So, to me, and I think majority of Kenyans, that's not a debate that should be in the offing at the moment.
The disquiet in the deputy president's backyard now threatens to create a rift between two of the region's political heavyweights.
And what does that mean? We are like sheep without a shepherd. That's what it means. And should we have those tussles? Yeah, this is politics, this is normal. But why is it abnormal? It is abnormal because we are going for each other's neck.
Some pundits argue that the deputy president has failed to till the political soil of his backyard, and cracks are emerging in the UDA party with undertones of realignments that may inform new political formations before 2027. Melita Oletenges, NTV.
All right, from that, let us now take a breather. It's 35 past the hour. Nina Shaban is standing by. We shift focus to the day's business stories. Stay with us.
Mwanangu, unapozidi kukua, mwili wangu unapitia mabadiliko mengi sana. Lakini the new Nice and Lovely Flawless Bio Body Oil inatunza mwili wangu, and I get to celebrate my journey with you. New Nice and Lovely Flawless Bio Body Oil imeboreshwa na 4 natural oils. Kupunguza the appearance of stretch marks, ku-even skin tone, na ku-improve skin firmness. Flawless is a feeling. 9 out of 10 Kenyan women agree it worked for them.
It's Friday and things are looking a bit boring. Fanta. Submit to the fizziest of fizz. Surrender to a bubbly bliss. Fall for the tangiest of tangs. Succumb to the flavor frenzy. Fanta. Indulge with a sip and snack.
With a promo code and get a welcome bonus. 1xBet.
NTV Business News in association with Standard Chartered Bank.
Good evening. It is time for NTV Business and my name is Nina Shaban. The shilling has weakened further to trade at a new low of 160 units to the US dollar. Now, this comes just 6 weeks after the Central Bank of Kenya raised its benchmark interest rate from 10.5% to 12.5% to arrest the slide of the currency. Now, let's take a quick look, actually, at the trends between the US dollar and the Kenyan shilling. Now, looking at the graph and going 5 years back between January 2019 and September 2022, the shilling lost ground against the dollar by only 20 units to stand at 120 shillings. In contrast, the local currency subsequently depreciated at a much faster rate in just 17 months to trade at the current level, falling by an additional 40 units. The fast pace of weakening started in the second half of 2022 when the country held its general election, and the steepest decline was seen last year, with the shilling weakening by 20 units in 7 months to the current level from 140 shillings at the start of July 2023. The depreciation of the shilling has been attributed to multiple factors, including the flight of foreign capital, rising interest rates in developed economies, and global economic shocks brought by the Russia-Ukraine war. The National Treasury, on its part, earlier said that the local currency had been overvalued and was now settling at its true value. The question on everyone's mind is, how low can the shilling go? Now, moving on swiftly. The National Treasury has moved closer to accessing the billions held by government ministries and agencies in commercial bank accounts after Cabinet approved the implementation of the Treasury Single Account, also known as a TSA, that has been years in the making. The approval by the Cabinet brings to fruition a decade-long effort to consolidate government funds under the account for easier control of outflows and easier access to surplus funds in the hands of government agencies and parastatals. It also points to paid for commercial banks, which are now facing up to the prospect of ceding billions of shillings worth of sticky deposits to the exchequer, tightening their liquidity position and forcing them to seek long-term deposits elsewhere, likely at a higher cost. By the end of June 2023, latest data from the Central Bank of Kenya shows that deposits by the central government and other public sector entities in commercial banks stood at 509.8 billion shillings, accounting for 10.4% of the banking sector's total deposits of 4.92 trillion at the time. It's a win for Kenyan oil marketing companies, as Uganda still relies on Kenya to import transit fuel even after the neighboring country announced that it would start directly buying the commodity from Vital Bahrain this month. This comes after Kenya refused to grant Uganda National Oil Company, a local oil marketing company, license that would have allowed it to access Kenya Pipeline Company facilities, a move that pushed Uganda to the East Africa Court of Justice in a bid to get the license, threatening to cease its reliance on the port of Mombasa and instead use Dar es Salaam. Uganda sought to access to Kenya's maritime facilities under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which grants a landlocked country the right of access to the sea without taxation of traffic through transit states. The delayed start of UNOC's direct fuel importation is a major win for Nairobi, as Uganda imports an average of 2.5 billion litres of petroleum annually, valued at 318 billion shillings, with Kenya Pipeline Company handling at least 90% of the cargo. Business news has come to an end. My name is Nina Shaban, wishing you a lovely night. Smriti will be back with more news.
NTV Business News, in association with Standard Chartered Bank.
A bank that connects potential to possibilities. So, where will you go from here?
Zaidi ya 3,000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona.
Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri.
Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa tuende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
The moment I feel my pain starting to fade, it's like I'm going back to myself on a really good day.
Panadol Extra releases you from strong pain. Panadol, release starts here.
New Nivea Luminous visibly reduces dark spots. Does it really work? Trust me. For post-acne marks too? Of course. World's #1 anti-spot expert serum, now for post-acne dark marks and age spots. Visible results in just 2 weeks. That means also for my age spots. Already worked for over 1 million women. Nivea Luminous 630. It works.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's take you to the coast for a moment. And the city of Mombasa is known for its ancient Swahili architectural designs. But the face of the coastal city is slowly changing. These Swahili structures are being demolished to pave way for the construction of high-rise apartments. Well, this has been attributed to the increase in population. Our Coast Affairs reporter Kevin Mutai reports on the changing skyline of Mombasa.
The port city of Mombasa is now portraying a different skyline, tall buildings dotting nearly every neighborhood within the island. Construction of the skyscrapers is on the rise in areas such as Majengo, Chuda and Kizingo, among other areas within the central business district.
Mombasa is the second largest city in Kenya. So obviously the land is not growing, and you realize commerce has also increased and the population.
Mombasa is an urban city, and apart from urban city, also a port city. So many people are coming into Mombasa. So many investors are coming in, taking advantage of the port. So it's likely to have rise in population and people building and invest here. It's normal.
More than 300,000 people enter and leave the city on a daily basis, some for work while others for business. This translates to the increase in demand for the office space as well as accommodation.
The economy of Kenyans is growing. Obviously, people need decent housing. Right? And for the real property guys, they've seen an opportunity of coming up with tall buildings that will provide both office space and accommodation.
The unique Swahili architectural buildings are being demolished, paving way for the high-rise apartments. Some of these structures in Majengo and Old Town were constructed centuries ago, preserving the heritage and the culture of the first settlers.
Historically, Mombasa grew up as a port city. And being a port city, it has influences from all over the world. For centuries, we have seen the arrivals of Arab sailors. We saw the arrivals of Omanis, Dutch people, Chinese, the Polish, and the British. And because of the arrival of these people who came with different agendas, they exacted influence in our architecture. And therefore, if you go to a place like Old Town, and especially the Treasury Square, you will realize that the buildings that are there are colonial British influence. Okay? The buildings that we have just here at Tomb are Arabic influence with Arabic letters.
With the shrinking land within the island, some of the locals owning the old houses are now selling their properties to private developers or entering into joint ventures to allow for the construction of the skyscrapers. This has seen the erosion of the historical values in some of the places, but the county government of Mombasa insists that areas earmarked by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, are protected.
In the next 10 years, Mombasa will be almost coming to the edge of Nairobi, especially in the town center. There will be no Kiswahili house. And therefore, maybe for the culture, the government need to do something about the cost of culture, because trying to do away with all of them can also destroy our history.
As somebody who has seen the golden part or the golden age of Mombasa, I feel sad. I feel sad. Yes, we are having these tall buildings and people are making more money, but can we do it in a systematic, organized manner such that those children and grandchildren of ours who will come will be proud of what they are seeing?
Areas like Old Town, they are protected. You cannot make changes to the structures. So they are law protecting those Swahili culture so that it can also attract tourists in our city.
The buildings have also put pressure on the city infrastructure, such as the road network and drainage systems. This also means that there will be a huge demand for services such as hospitals, schools, and even water for the population living within the island.
The drainage that we have in Mombasa is I would say maybe 70 years old. It cannot accommodate, as it were, the big buildings that we have. We have problems of overflowing sewers, especially in old town of Mombasa.
Before we approve, we look at so many factors. One of it being drainage. Before we approve a tall building, we'll have to. There is a condition before we approve. We have to make include a biodigester in your building, so that it can ease in. A biodigester, how the technology works. The end product is just water, which you can connect to a stormwater drain and can drain to the sea.
With the port of Mombasa and the planned construction of the special economic zone in Dogokundu, both investments and employment opportunities are expected, therefore translating to an increase in the number of people operating within the region. Moi International Airport and the Standard Gauge Railway have also boosted movement of goods and services in and out of Mombasa, signaling growth in the economy of the county. With the increase in population within the port city of Mombasa, proprietors in the real estate industry are capitalizing on the opportunity to provide housing units, at the same time attracting more people to work and live within the island city. Kevin Mutai, NTV. In Mombasa.
Well, wherever you are, cities certainly do change their face over time. All right, now from Mombasa, we take you to Kisii, and a group of residents from Bobasi in Nyamache, Kisii County held demonstrations demanding the arrest of South Mugirango and Member of Parliament Silvanus Osoro. The residents, led by several MCAs, claim the National Assembly Majority Whip was behind an attack on supporters of Governor Simba Arati during a meeting by the governor, an incident that left several people injured.
In Itumbe, Nyamache and Rioningo, residents took to the streets calling for action to be taken against South Mugirango legislator Silvanus Osoro. The crowd, led by a section of members of the county assembly, burnt a coffin on the road. The irate group erected a steep bump as a roadblock, creating a buffer zone between them and the police officers armed with anti-riot gear. Police were forced to lob tear gas to disperse them. The protests were held in response to an incident which occurred on Monday last week, when a scuffle ensued during a bursary disbursement drive held by Kisii Governor Simba Arati at Nyakembene Market in Boikanga Ward, where a group believed to be allied to Osoro stormed the event. Shots were fired in the air and 4 people were injured during the mayhem in what is seen as a political supremacy between the two leaders.
National government has not said anything about the incident that happened in South Mugirango. Bwana Simba Arati is the governor for Kisii County. He was elected.
They have threatened to continue holding demos every Monday until action is taken against the MP.
An unfortunate circumstance in South Mugirango.
Osoro, who is also the majority whip in the National Assembly, distanced himself from the chaos, maintaining that he was somewhere in his constituency launching development projects.
Time to shift gears. The sports news is coming up after this short break with Bernard Ndong. Don't go far.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
When you're finally released from pain. That moment when you start to get back to ordinary, and ordinary feels amazing. Whatever pain you're going through, release starts here.
Alex yuko wapi?
Bado hajafika kutoka kazini.
Na badala umtafute, umekuja kutunyamazisha, sio?
Mama,
mimi sio mama yako.
Alex. Kuna shida? Alex amevamiwa, sasa ako kwa shida.
Well, hello there. It's time for the sports update. Good evening. I'm Bernard Ndong. The Kenya Sevens team Shujaa and the Kenya Lionesses are back home after a memorable outing in the first leg of the HSBC Challenger Series in Dubai. Shujaa won the opening round with the Lionesses finishing second to set the bar high for the rest of the season. Here's NTV's Hilary Anekea with the details.
Kenya Sevens team Shujaa and their female counterparts, the Lionesses, touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport just before 3 p.m. Kenyan time after a memorable outing at the HSBC Challenger Series in Dubai over the weekend. Shujaa, inspired by try-hungry Patrick Odongo, saw Chile 12-5 in the final to set the momentum for the second leg of the Challenger Series in Uruguay from March 8th to 10th.
Again, incredible stuff. He can't stop scoring.
Coach Kevin Wambua is confident that Kenya is on course to retaining its co-status, but revealed that the team will not rest on its laurels.
It took some time for us to settle and play to our game plan, and you could notice by how we played against Germany, but eventually when it mattered, I think everything ticked. Our set piece is key in terms of how we want to play, and you could see the co-captains, Tony with the restarts and Onyala with the contest. So I'm just happy that we could go through our processes and we were able to win this tournament.
The Kenyan boys will take a much-needed 10-day break before embarking on training for the second leg.
That's fine. Patrick Odongo Okongo gets Kenya on the ball.
You have to keep on working. That's the unfortunate reality of where we are at the moment. We have to keep working no matter what, no matter how many times we become number one. We have to play like we are in the series, and that is our target moving on.
As you can see, the cruise is nice, and we are pretty hopeful, and we know that we're going back to the HSBC series. Once we get back, that is when now we'll start asking ourselves difficult questions.
The Kenya Lionesses, who fell to China in the final, are now on the prowl for more success in the subsequent rounds.
It was a close call for us. We have really worked to get to this position. These are things which we dreamed of, and we always aspire to make it to that level. The Lioness team is still a team that is growing. These are the makings of a future HSBC team. We are excited as well getting to that level.
As the Kenya Sevens team Shujaa return home, they do so in a triumphant mode, hoping and believing that their quest to retain their co-status is well in sight. Hilary Anekea for NTV Sports at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi.
Let's head on to the golf course, where Zimbabwean golfer visitor Mapwanya has maintained his lead after the second round of the Safari Tour event that was held at the Limuru County Club. Mapwanya played 5 under par, resulting in a total score of 134 gross. Following closely behind is Kenyan Daniel Nduva of Nyali Golf and Country Club, securing the second position, the gross score of 140. Samuel Njoroge of Railway Golf Club has claimed the third spot with a score of 141. Out of the initial 66 players who signed up, only 22 have advanced to the third and fourth rounds, where they will compete for a coveted prize purse of 1 million Kenya shillings. The ultimate winner of the event will be awarded 150 shillings.
Halfway through the fourth round of the Safari Tour series, and quite impressed with the scoring so far, with the leader at 10 under after 2 rounds. You will remember last week the winner at Sigona finished the round at 11 under, so to be getting a 10 under score after 2 rounds is quite impressive.
Just a point of clarification, it's 150,000, not 150 Kenya shillings. Elsewhere, Boniface Fundi and Mary Munanu are the winners of the Embu County Cross Country that was held at the Embu Golf and County Resort in Rueka, Beere South Sub-County, Embu County. Fundi won the men's 10 kilometers race in a time of 26 minutes and 15 seconds, while Mary Munanu won the women's race in a time of 29 minutes and 17 seconds. The Embu County Cross Country Trials was basically to pick a team that will represent the county in the Eastern Regional Cross Country, which will be held on the same course next month on the 10th. Meanwhile, sports stakeholders in Embu, led by the County Athletics Kenya chairman, Stephen Jeru, are lobbying to host the National Cross Country Championships at the Embu Golf and County Resort, and they believe is that the spacious facility and the good obstacles will be fantastic for the race. Now let's cross over to the Ivory Coast, where Senegal began their African Cup of Nations title defense with a 3-0 victory over 10-man Gambia at the Charles Konan Bani Stadium in Yamoussoukro. Pape Gueye gave the Teranga Lions their ideal start, collecting Sadio Mane's pass to fire in a 4th-minute opener before Lamine Camara scored twice for Aliou Cisse's side to hand the holders a perfect start to the tournament. Senegal returned to the Yamoussoukro's Stadium Charles Stadium to meet Cameroon in their second group stage match this coming Friday.
And Camara finds the back of the net with an absolute beauty. Lovely goal, really was, and that's a double from this young man.
Well, that update from the African Cup of Nations sums up the sports update for tonight. And remember, I'm back in studio. It's the first edition of Sport On 2024. Stay tuned for that. It's all about Kenyan cricket.
All right, well, it is 10 o'clock, so that's it on this broadcast. Thanks so much for watching NTV Tonight. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Our sign language interpreter has been David Algondoa. Do stay tuned, though. As Bernard said, Sport On is coming up in just a moment. Bye-bye.
This is NTV.
Sign up with a promo code and get a welcome bonus. 1xBet.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
This year, 1,000 top KCPE exam performers from needy backgrounds received their Wings to Fly scholarships for their secondary education. The 2024 program, sponsored by Equity Bank and German Cooperation through KfW, is administered by Equity Group Foundation. Watch the Wings to Fly feature this Wednesday, 17th January on NTV at 6:40 p.m. Educate, empower, lead, the triad to success.
Cars with Big Boy Trev is back. All the latest reviews from across the world. From premium brands that redefine luxury and performance to rugged commercial vehicles built to take on any challenge. Discover expert tips on car care and maintenance, and of course explore the future with electric vehicles changing the way we drive. Sit back and relax and buckle up with the ride of your life. Premiering this January on NTV.
Alex yuko wapi?
Bado hajafika kutoka kazini.
Na badala umtafute, umekuja kutunyamazisha, sio?
Mama,
mimi sio mama yako.
Alex.
Kuna shida?
Alex amevamiwa, sahi ako kwa shida.
Taarifa Teke na e-paper. Stay in the know on the go. Getting the full story Bilangori. To sign up, choose your preferred subscription. Use the promo code SUBZ22 to get 20% off and pay. Get your favorite newspaper and enjoy the truth anywhere, anytime. For inquiries, email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111. Subscribe today and get your Taarifa Teke.
Don't put off something today because you think you'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is not assured.
We are our greatest critics, so if you're able to break out of that jail in your head and do things that even you did not believe you could do, then you're a maverick.
Be confident early. I think society has broken a lot of our young people's confidence because you're always told, you know, you're wasting time. What you're doing doesn't make sense. For me, the mavericks are the brave.
You also have to wait for the right time. If it's your time, you know, you can't force things, you can't rush things. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not really pushing the boundaries.
Africa is blessed with problems. There are opportunities for us to be mavericks.
Reach your audience instantly and make a lasting impression with Nation Sema. Affordable SMS at 0.3 Kenya shillings. Own sender ID for 10,000 Kenya shillings plus 10,000 free SMS. To sign up, please call 0790 111 111 or email us on nationsema@ke.nationmedia.com.
Why is this event so important to us? We're fully persuaded that this event has a unique offering of a transformative and intentional conversation by thought leaders from across the continent and the diaspora to interrogate the various aspects and facets of our collective vision. Thus, in the program, you will find business executives, academics, policymakers, community leaders, higher education students, youthful entrepreneurs, and other social influencers in various new media platforms. It is our anticipation that out of the effervescence of the interchange of various ideas, perspectives, and proposals on the issues of concern, there would emerge some pointers of strategic directions to be seriously considered by our governments, by the private sector, civil society organizations, social groups, and partner institutions towards fulfilling the vision of the Africa in which we aspire to live.
NTV, turning on your world.